Ladies and gentlemen, I am angry. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to talk about what I want to talk without incurring in the ires of YouTube to some extent. Though it might be time for everybody to stop caring. Let's see. So first, what is this about? So Zoran Mamdani, some fairly slow individual, has won the election as the mayor of New York. Now, this individual is pretty obviously uninterested in talking to Americans. He hasn't been elected by Americans. He has been elected by some Americans, and that's kind of what I want to talk about. But he has been elected by non-Americans. Now, Carl Benjamin is covering this, and there's something he's about to say that really arose something in my head, and I want to talk about that.
No Americans involved in this, because what this is a coalition of foreigners conducting a kind of intersectional jihad against the native population of the New York, what's left of the native population of New York. They realised that actually we can form our intersectional coalition, a racial coalition of every race against the white man, and we can win.
Okay. I agree with this point of view, or with this historical characterization of what is going on. However, there are problems. The problem that is present, and I've listened to the entire video all the way to the end, and he never addresses the problem that exists. That it's the biggest problem. That is the biggest problem. Is that there is a Trojan horse. That Trojan horse has come in the form of a mind virus of some sort, in which the white man hasn't been allowed to believe what he believes, to think what he thinks. He is chastised eternally by a number of demographics, the biggest one being his females. Wives, girlfriends, daughters, if you're stupid enough to have sent them to school. Like I did with my last. Or rather with my first, but she's old enough hopefully to resist this. It seems to be the case so far. We'll find out. Anyway. Why do I say this? Because while I agree with Benjamin that there is a whole, basically everybody, it's trendy, it's been trendy for friggin' decades now, and that's part of the Trojan horse, to hate me and him and anybody else who's watching that cares about anybody who happens to be a bit pasty. Last I checked, I'm pasty not by choice. Right? So it's been a multi-pronged attack on everything. From constructing theories that justify the hatred of pasty men, from every angle, from the feminism angle to the anti-father, which I suppose is kind of the same, and then there's the whole racial angle where they've changed. First, we weren't supposed to believe that the word race exists. Then all of the mentally retarded have decided that the word race does exist, and everybody can use it except me. Now I'm gonna put it personal here. This is personal. In the world of the great and inimitable Michael Jordan, and it became personal with me. Words of dubious grammatical coherence, but of strong meaning. I'm gonna talk personally, and it's important that we talk personally. Scratch that I talk personally, because all of these theoretical attacks, theoretical in the sense that they are not in the realm of the physical world yet, they are metaphysical attacks through words, logic, lack thereof, mental structures, right? Thought patterns, right? As a white man, I've always been in charge of everything, and therefore I have no idea what any of this means. White people are just as poor as everybody else. I mean, they have poor people too. But the white man has been corrupted severely. Enormous seas of debt. It is, of course, illegal to mention where the debt, where the source of the lending comes from. But it does remain the case that the white man has happily accepted these debts between business opportunities or simply not being capable of curbing one's desire in comparison to one's capabilities in terms of economics at the time in question. As an Italian man, actually, this is an interesting aspect, because this mind virus has infested the Italian minds as well, but much later than very many other places in the world. Italians, 1, 2, 3 generations ago, were notoriously very frugal and very debt averse. Anyway, but that's kind of like a bit of a rabbit hole I don't really want to go down, but it bears mentioning. So there's that. But fundamentally speaking, the white man, that will be me, I, have accepted to be eternally berated by everybody and to not be allowed to hold an opinion. Else things will happen to me. I might lose access to my banking. I might lose access to my liberty if I'm in Germany. If I think something somebody doesn't want me to think, I am at risk. Even of physical violence in certain situations. Use the N-word in the United States as a pasty chap, see what happens to you. Alright? Now, this is fundamentally unacceptable and a loss of control. This loss of control has generated this vacuum for which these individuals, these foreigners fundamentally, and foreigners is not really the right term, it's civilian invaders. It's fascinating as a concept, but anyway. These colonialists, if you will, have come in. However, they haven't come in a way that makes any sense. Because, and that's the absurd fallacy that everybody brings up, which is America is a country that was made by immigrants. Yes, in a sense of a certain stock or whatever, but they all came in on their own two legs with their own luggage, and they all found a way to integrate. Right? That's why you have loads of Italians that call themselves Italian, even though the only thing that remains Italian of theirs, when in America, is the fact that somebody calls them Guidos or Goombas. Right? It's that they only speak English. Right? Their grandma maybe speaks a bit of Sicilian and has misspelled the name of their son or daughter. For she's now detached from the roots. Right? Anyway, bottom line is it was a different world. Because there's the ideological bit and the metaphysical bit that I talked about, and then there's another bit. Not just the financial one in the sense that the white man has become, I have become broken in the head. I accept debt. I live like a complete Burke. I refuse to reproduce. I refuse to move forward. I see no point in a future. That sort of thing. Right? One thing more has happened, which is these invaders come in and somehow they find help. And that is an insane proposition. There are parties upon parties upon parties right now, well too late, that run all over the world on the phrase fundamentally that if you're a migrant, you shouldn't receive subsidies. But not only that, in this case, you've got first-generation migrants that are voting. Have they obtained the citizenships? the citizenship, have they renounced the others, which is mandatory in the United States. See, the only reason I have never become an American and probably never will is because America would force me to renounce all of my other citizenships. Now, I actually have no allegiance of any kind to any nation, even though I feel very American in my mindset. Okay, whatever that means considering how large the place is. But, you know, I have citizenships, I have 3 of them, and I want to keep them because in case government A wants to go to war, I want to go away. I don't want to be part of the government's silly wars. Now, I understand some people will find this is a treasonous position, but this is how I've lived my life so far. And I think I have a right because wars don't represent me in any way. However, my mind is starting to change in a weird way. Because what is happening is this invasion of people that hate me openly, brazenly, and without question. And without reason, by the way. Yeah? Are coming into my home. And if they rob my local store, that's fine. The government's not going to police them. We know this. It's just a fact. It keeps happening. They're constantly reoffending one after the other. While I have never once in my life ever committed a crime. I have never even been to trial on any accusation of any sort. My only run-in with the cops is when I get a ticket because I speed, or because when I was 16, I once did a drunken, disorderly thing or something. It was nothing. But I had a chat with a policeman in Italy. I don't even know if that's a thing on my record, okay? That's the only relationship I've had with that. But where I live, for example, there's been a kidnapping recently. Where I live, for example, the robberies of rural homes are going up. And they're all by the United Colors of Benetton. But I am not allowed to generalize. I'm not allowed to profile. I am not allowed to think anything. Well, hate to break it to you, internet and world, whether you like it or not, I am thinking whatever I'm thinking. And whether you like that I'm thinking or don't like that I'm thinking a certain thing I'm not supposed to think, you can go to hell in a handbasket. I will think whatever the heck I want. I may not be able to express it, but I sure think it. And that is probably the first step. It is necessary now for me to stop thinking in a way that I think is correct. So we're clear, I think it's correct to think that fundamentally speaking, every individual has something to contribute in a tapestry of individuals. Okay? Immutable characteristics are to me irrelevant, generally speaking. A realtor that helped me out in Canada to find my home when I was in British Columbia, he was a Muslim, right? His name was Mustafa. I'm not going to say more than that, right? Okay, and didn't care that we became friends. It doesn't matter to me. But he was very Oreo. He still had this stupid resentment. I once talked to him and I said, I don't remember what we talked about, but I was talking probably about something already to do with this particular topic we're addressing now. And he was saying, yeah, man, all Canadians are racist. And I was like, that is insane. You're here. Not only are you here, you have a prestigious job and you're making stupid money while doing it. How is it conceivably possible? And he could not motivate his point, right? So that left me a bit bereft, right? But that is tolerable. That's fine. That's fine. Okay? It's a wrong idea. I disagree with it and I think it's stupid. But that's fine. You can't cure stupidity. Okay? It's an illness. It is what it is. And I certainly have it at times. I was about to say we all have it. I'm sorry. However, there is an entirely different demographic. And this demographic has all sorts of colors. That includes white, by the way. That comes in as spectacularly bigoted against me for reasons I cannot comprehend. Historical reasons that are nonsensical because they collectivize me as if I had anything to do with any of this. Right? And I'm a very peculiar example because I'm from Yugoslavia, so it makes it very difficult to argue that I'm privileged, or that I was born with privilege. That is bona fide retarded. So there's that. But this crazy demographic has no interest at all in becoming friends with me when they come to what is ostensibly my house. Now, it's an extension of my house, but I'm supposed not to believe this. I'm supposed not to know. And that doesn't make any sense. Because the people that are coming to my house do not have an equivalent culture to mine. They have an objectively, by every unit of measure, worse culture than my own. Worse. Which is why they're coming here. If this is not the case, then, if the cultures are equivalent, then they're coming here for an alternative motive. Now, one motive could be, as they argue, that they are coming here to take back what I, apparently, stole from them. A long, long time ago when I wasn't even born. It's incredible. Well, in that case, I don't want my stuff stolen from me. Hope you don't mind too much. So that's one key of reading. The other key of reading is that they are coming here. Well, the one that I've already said is to improve their lives because my house is better. Better culture, better everything. More success, more opportunity. Okay? The third key of reading is that, the third key of reading is that they are coming here with hostile intent. To take over my culture and insert theirs. Now you see, I have a problem with that too. Now, I think the correct key of reading is actually a mix of all three of these. So, the colors of Benetton are emboldened by the fact that the mind virus of self-hatred has pervaded my head. I'm supposed to hate myself, which I don't. I'm supposed to not want to have a future for my people and for myself. My people would be my family, so we're clear. I'm not supposed to make children. I'm not supposed to make money. I'm not supposed to own anything. I'm supposed to live in internal debt and be completely pointless and work 9 to 5 to pay off my stupid over my limits existence that doesn't matter a bugger to anybody. So that's what I'm supposed to be. Whereas the United Colors of Benetton are supposed to come in and just build whatever they want. Laws do not apply to them. My laws. It's my house, my laws. They apply to me. Their laws apply to me as well. No laws apply to them at all. Tax evasion, no problem. Fraud on benefits, yeah. Voting without citizenship, no problem, we'll do that. Crime, loving crime. Crime is great. Nepotism, sure, bring it in, no problem. Everybody's allowed to be nepotistic, except me. If I hire my own children for my company because I decided to, I'm gonna get investigated. If I say something on the internet that somebody doesn't like, I'm gonna get investigated. Whereas, as seen on this particular screen, what this individual is saying is that this movement is made by everyone except Americans. Either that, or he's arguing that these people are American, in which case he's arguing that America doesn't exist, or something to that effect. And mind you, weirdly, I agree with him. I don't think nations make any sense nowadays. I mean, I can purchase a property in America right now, right? So I can go live there, but I can only live there as a tourist. That doesn't make any sense. I own part of your country by having purchased that property. No, you don't. Blah, 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 blah. Ridiculous. I think nations are completely obsolete. But this has nothing to do with nations. Nations are fictitious, but cultures are not. People are not. Right? In the words of Carl Benjamin, They have realized that they can win if they all coalesce against me. I don't think this is true, not without counting all of the other allies, including pasty, white, just like me, women, who unfortunately have their head in a bucket of brine. Fairly normal. Fairly irritating, though. That's one of the things that's happening to all of the males in the pasty, what do they call them on the other side? Community. Beautiful. Let's go with that, right? In the pasty community, what's happening in the cracker world is that the men hate their own women for very good reason. Right? So there's no pairing happening anymore, no children happening anymore. They are too retarded to wake up. That's normal. So, is this the end? It's just a very slow, protracted end? Like the end of a dementia patient sort of losing his life slowly as it trickles away. I don't know. I want to try and be a bit constructive about what I think needs to happen. And the vast majority of what needs to happen in my head. And if you listen this far, your head as well. Step number 1. Fundamental necessity of accepting your own opinions. You need to have opinions and hold them. Anybody who thinks that a crime is acceptable at any level, for any reason, for any justification, is a moron. And you should be aware of this if you think that. Somebody stole because they're hungry. No. No crimes are tolerated for any reason or any style. Right? Particularly if crimes come from the United Colors of Benetton. The despondence, the opposition, the hatred inside your head must be contemplated and understood. Not necessarily used, but it must be archived. It must be there. No, I'm not supposed to. Ridiculous. Let's say you have any degree of tribalistic proximity in your head to people that look like you. Well, what's wrong with that? Go on, ask it to yourself in your head, what's wrong with that? Ponder it. And when you find an answer, if you find an answer that contrasts, it's brilliant. Arguments for, arguments against. No religion, please. I'm not interested in dogmas. I'm not interested in it. It's just wrong. This is stupid. Think it through. Right? For example, if, like me, you believe that I or you are not responsible for what your ancestors did, you might be the beneficiary, but you're not responsible. Anybody taking it out on you is wrong. Okay, so the self thing. Going to the gym and all of this stuff that all of these idiot jocks say on the internet is a way, I suppose, but I think that's retarded. That's wasting time. Of course, being strong physically is useful, but upstairs over here, there's a heck of a lot lacking. You might want to be a bit introspective first. I'm now preaching to others. I'm technically talking to myself. So there, you is me. How about that? Next. Family. Family is the extension of the self. When you have a child, you know this thing is precious. You're not sure why. Okay? Of course, actually, let me do a different premise. Sorry. Marriage that's solid. Okay? I don't care how, I don't know how, but there's got to be a way that you can obtain in life what I have. a loyal, strong, hard-working wife. A wife that helps you get through life. A wife that is taking care of your home. She doesn't work the 9 to 5. She doesn't get a paycheck. If she gets a paycheck, you live wrong. You gotta get a paycheck and you gotta figure out a way to do it, and you gotta figure out a way to do it in such a way that she does not need one. But she must work, and must work hard for the family. It's gonna be a mission. You're gonna have to talk to her, make her understand things, and so on and so forth. Is it possible the world come crashing down? Yes. But what's the alternative? It's crashing. Everything's crashing anyway. So, next, family, making children, and caring for said children. Outside, for Pete's sakes, from the school system. At least when they're tender in age. Absolutely, this is a fact. They may resent you, doesn't matter. Right? Schools are a concentration camp for people of the same age for indoctrination purposes. The enormous majority of teachers suck at their jobs anyway. You know this from your past. Okay, so at best, it's extremely ineffective and a gigantic waste of time, which in and of itself builds slothfulness in people. Right? And uselessness. No, time is precious and it must be used well from the tenderest of ages. In the case of a very tender age, play is better than that. Now, siblings, one child, not enough. Not enough. One child gets too much burden from you as you're an aging parent later on. I know this firsthand. I'm an only child, my wife is an only child, and we have 5 children ourselves. You can imagine how fun this is. So, at least 2. Okay? And homeschooled. Rigorously. If your country doesn't allow it, do it anyway. And if they catch you, migrate. Right? And this brings me to the last bit. You, as the pasty man, like me, must hate your government. Hate is the only word. Very openly. But the government is the only way in which we could do things. Look around. And you might be tempted to blame me and say, oh yeah, but it's because of people like you who don't believe in the system that the system is deteriorating like this. You know what? I'm gonna launch myself in a swear word. Bollocks, is it? No. That is not true at all. That is not true. The most corrupt people among you and me are there. The most broken people, the most affected by corruption from every angle, from money to ideological stuff, to coalitions, to whatever you like. That is not the answer. Democracy is not the answer of any sort. Democracy is the reason why you do not have any power of choice. It is Orwellian in nature. It's the opposite of what it purports to be. It says your vote counts. It doesn't. If it counted, this wouldn't have happened. Your vote, pasty man, does not count and never does. And never will. Because the more your demographic goes down and the more depressed you become, the more your vote doesn't count. And then I don't know. Then I don't know what happens. Because whenever this has happened in history before, look at the Portuguese Reconquista, for example. You know, it's 400 years of control by the mentally challenged. That's a lot of oppression. That's oppression that transcends lifetimes. So perhaps that's where I'm headed. Perhaps this is where you're headed. But no one says that you need to head there happy. and they're angry towards the people that have done this to you. It's personal. Remember, you're white. And because you're white, it is legal to hate you. It is desirable to hate you. Whatever white means. It's one drop rule in this direction too, I suppose. Mediterranean? Sure. French? Bring it on. German? Why not? Scandinavian? Oh, that's very blonde. We can't have that. Because my grandfather must have been an oppressor. Or whatever. I don't think so. So yeah, what has happened in New York is a gigantic loss. It's just symbolic though. Because what the loss is, isn't the person there. Just like Sadiq Khan wasn't a loss in London because it's Sadiq Khan. It's a loss because the pasty people are not allowed to think things. You know, Sadiq Khan, ULEZ, ultra low emission zone. That disgusting idea. Net zero, another disgusting idea. All of the disgusting ideas come from these retards. Okay? So, it is, I think, time to stand up in your own life, in your own mind. And fight in a metaphysical way. Any proposition, the answer is no. Anybody attacks you because of the color of your skin or whatever, the answer is no. Do not help if you don't want to. What you want is the most important thing. What do you want for yourself, your future, your family? You have a right to be happy. Like everybody else. And it's going to be very difficult to be happy when you are surrounded by people that openly hate you. Now, if you then want to claim a home somehow, want to coalesce with others to claim a place for yourself, as you've done in the past, well, that time might come again. I don't know. Best of luck, white man. You're gonna need it.